All right, girls, it's time to move. So a lot of people ask us, how do you make money? How do you guys survive on the farm? Well, one of the ways, in fact, last year proved to be kind of one of the best ways that we are able to make some income here, is through breeding and selling these dwarf Nigerian goats. They're not for meat production. They do pretty well with milk. We have milked the ones behind us here. We've now let them kind of dry up, and so they're ready to be bred again. But we generally sell them as pets. So they're for 4-H or for people just to have as pets or companion animals or whatever. Last year we did pretty well with goats, breeding them out, and we had 16 babies that we have sold just about all of. We still have a few more to put up for sale that are ready to sell now. So it is time to move our animals all around and get them kind of mated up with several of the bucks that we have. We have 2 bucks that we use to breed right now, and between the 2 of them, we're able to keep kind of 2 herds separated out and breed back and forth between those 2, and then sell off all the offspring that have been bred with them. So I'll show you kind of introduce you to a few of the goats here. I've done this before. I've got lots of videos in the past on, in fact, we have live births that we did with these goats last summer, and a bunch of stuff here. So I won't go into too much detail, but we'll show you the bucks that we have, and we'll kind of get these goats moved around and into their winter homes. So this is Oreo. He is actually our only registered dwarf Nigerian. We haven't really bred a registered line, though. We don't have a registered female for him. But then we have Adam here, who is the one who had his horns half removed, or not removed right, and so they grew back all kind of goofy. He has the blue-eyed trait, which is makes some nice little bucklings and doelings, and they sell pretty well. So we're trying to get his blue-eyed trait into all of our lines here. And then we also have Gilly back there on the left. He is somebody gave him to us as a pet, and he's actually a weathered goat. So he's been fixed. He can't be used for breeding, but he's a good little buddy for goats that are by themselves out here. So, and then up front here we have most of our girls. There are 4 girls in here that are ready for breeding. We also have 2 bucklings. Actually, these 2 are wethers now. I've got this one here and the one back there. Those are both wethers. Somebody put a deposit on those 2 and actually purchased them, but never came to pick them up and said they actually decided they didn't want them anymore. So we have those will be kind of put up for sale again. And then we have Panda and Zane. These are the 2 coolest goats that we have ever owned. They are the friendliest. They just love to jump up and play all over with the kids and stuff. So we're going to keep her, and we'll breed her next year, and then we're going to sell Zane there, a little buckling. But these are both Lily's babies. She's another Nigerian dwarf. But we're going to get the babies separated out, the ones that we're going to be selling in that. And they're loud. I think they must need hay. Oh, they ran out of hay today. To bring them up a bale of hay up for this pasture too. So we'll get some of these guys separated out with into 2 herds. It's always interesting moving goats around. Look at that guy. Okay, I got all of them back here into the small pen, so now I can move the males apart into their separate pastures. There's one female that I left up there. It's a lot of breath. I'm carrying the goats because they get so excited with all they see the male goats and everything else, and they start running all over the place, and they don't even care about feed anymore, so it's hard to lead them. And if you've ever tried to lead a goat on a leash, it is pretty much impossible. they'll only go in the opposite direction that you want them to. So. Everyone, be quiet. Everyone's in an uproar. These guys, this is their first time away from mom, and they're with their relatives over here, some cousins. But these guys are these guys brothers or cousins? I don't know. Everybody's in an uproar. Goats are crying everywhere. One of the things I always have to pay attention to is, our pasture capacities. So this is our largest pasture out here. Although in the wintertime there's not a lot of forage for the animals, these guys will be out here into April, May, and June with their babies and things. So I don't want them to overgraze and forage a pasture. So I've got the biggest herd out here. This is 6 goats that'll be in this pasture. And then, of course, up front here in our smallest pasture, I just have the 3 goats. So I've got the weathered boy, and then Adam, the buck, and Lily. This pasture got pretty much destroyed by our pigs, and we learned a lesson about pasturing them too. There just wasn't enough grass in this pasture. We put Martha out here, and this was just one pig that did all this to this pasture in 4 weeks. It wasn't even that long. So made a mistake with putting her out here, the pig, and she just wrecked this pasture. But of course it's wintertime now, so it'll grow back well in the spring. But man, it looks like a mess now, doesn't it? Well, it's getting too dark, so I have to go in the barn. Well, it's gonna take a few days for the goats to get used to all their new homes and new friends that they're all with. Everybody's been kind of mixed up, but this is a little earlier than we bred the goats last year. So goats have about a 5-month gestation. Now that depends. They're not all gonna get pregnant, today. We'll mark down the date that we put everybody together with who. I'll keep track of all that stuff. I generally use OneNote and just keep track of just notes for all the animals on who's with who and when they were put together. And so throughout the next month, all those females will get pregnant. Now we leave our bucks with those does throughout that whole 5 months. We just pull the females out and separate them into their own stalls to give birth, just right at the very end. But we leave them all together. They'll be happy together with the bucks and the does. Everybody will be fine. So we don't worry too much about that. But some of the best advice I guess I could give you guys out there, maybe starting a homestead or starting a farm, and I'll talk more about this in one of our self-reliance videos. But really get started with animals as soon as you can, but there's also a happy medium, because you don't want to get too many animals before you have pastures set up and shelters and watering systems, and you've got everything kind of figured out with that, because we kind of ran into that. We got a lot of animals really quick, and I'm still trying to catch up with shelters and pastures and fencing and all that kind of stuff. Every year we have more and more animals. So next year we're going to have 2 times the amount of livestock that we had this year. We continue to add to our breeding lines with our pigs and our goats especially. Those are our 2 biggest money makers. The pigs, of course, can provide meat for us, as well as revenue in selling the piglets. They're a registered breed, so they sell for about $200 a piece. As well as the goats, they sell for about $150 to $200 a piece also. A goat can have anywhere from 2 to 4 doelings or bucklings, and that can add up pretty quickly. So that has been and will continue to be probably one of our kind of more substantial income streams. Of course, that doesn't pay the bills for the year, but that's definitely a huge part of that. You can see behind me, we've got lots of hay. Believe it or not, we will probably go through almost all of this hay with the goats and the pigs that we have. So it takes a lot of hay to feed these animals, but we harvested this off our own property here with our own hands and our own very little investment into the hay fields, really, when you think about it. And we sell off a little bit of extra hay to pay for fuel costs, maintenance on the equipment, and the time it takes to harvest it. And so essentially, the hay that is sitting behind me was income neutral or expense neutral, meaning that it didn't cost me anything other than some of my time to harvest this hay. So this is all essentially, we can consider this kind of a free feed source because of that offset in what we sell to what it costs us to harvest all of it. So we still do feed the goats some grain throughout the year. That grain is a little bit more expensive. It's 12 or 13 bucks a bag. We don't feed them very much at all. Their main source of nutrition is the hay, but we do supplement them with some goat mineral, some worming medication every month, and also the sweet feed. Basically, it's just a mix for goats. Helps keep them nice and fat, especially through their pregnancies. And we've had very healthy births here on the farm. We've not had to intercede or do anything with any of these goats. They have all given birth completely by themselves, and we've had no trouble. We've had all healthy births, which is just praise God, because that can be a nightmare. So be looking forward to goat births. We'll be having little baby goats running all over here in the springtime. April's going to come around, April and May, and this place will be hopping with life. And so we'll take you guys along for that as always. But love to hear your questions. This is one of the things that people ask you the most, how we make money here on the farm. And this is one of those ways, amongst many other things that we do. And in fact, tomorrow I'm going to take you along on one of our other income sources. And so stay tuned for that video later this week. Thumbs up, guys, on the video. A little bit about our goat operation here today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.